Have you ever walked into a room and just felt off? Like the air itself is holding its breath. Most people ignore that feeling, but I've learned to listen. It's a primal warning, a whisper from the part of us that remembers being hunted. The world we know is just a thin layer over something much older and darker. I've spent time in those quiet, forgotten places, and I've seen how quickly that layer can crack. What happens when the ancient dance of predator and prey plays out in the places we think are safest? The office at night. The empty school hallway. Tonight, we'll talk about 3 people who found themselves in those places. Janitors, custodians, the ones who move through the world when it's asleep. They were supposed to be alone, but they weren't. These are 3 true disturbing janitor horror stories. I never thought the quiet halls of my workplace could feel so predatory. At night, the glass and steel tower became my domain, just me, my cart, and the silence of the 12th floor. I'd been doing this job for years. I knew every sound, every shadow. But that night, as I pushed my cart down the corridor, I felt eyes on me. It started as a prickle on my neck. I tried to ignore it. Then, a soft thud behind me. Not a building sound, something deliberate. I called out, but only silence answered. I tried to focus on my work, but the feeling of being watched grew heavier. I kept glancing over my shoulder, scanning the empty cubicles. The windows reflected my own lonely figure, a ghost in a sea of shadows. I decided to clean the conference room, somewhere I could close the door. As I passed the last row of cubicles, I caught a flicker of movement, a shadow that moved when no shadow should have. My blood ran cold. I abandoned my cart and hurried toward the security desk. My hands shook as I radioed security. I think there's someone up here with me. The guard checked the cameras. I don't see anything, just you. His words didn't help. I knew what I saw. I knew what I felt. I backed away, every shadow twisting, every corner a threat. I locked myself in the janitor's closet, breath ragged, surrounded by the smell of chemicals. The radio crackled. "Floor 12 is clear. Nothing's there." I didn't answer. Because as he said those words, I heard a slow scratching sound, right on the other side of the door. I pressed myself against the metal, heart pounding, listening as the scratching grew louder. I realized, then, whatever was out there knew I was trapped. I waited, barely breathing, until the sound finally stopped. When I opened the door, the hallway was empty. My cart was gone. I never found it. I never worked another night shift again. Sometimes, the silence of an empty building isn't empty at all. Sometimes, it's just waiting for you to notice. And sometimes, the thing that's waiting is already inside. I still see that shadow in my dreams, moving just out of sight. I still feel those eyes on me, even in the daylight. The 12th floor is just an office by day, but at night, it's a hunting ground, and I was the prey. If you ever find yourself alone in a place that feels wrong, trust your instincts. Get out. Don't look back, because sometimes you're not alone, and sometimes you're being hunted. Basements always made me uneasy, but this one was different. It was in an old library, a century-old building. Upstairs it was all books and quiet. Down here, it felt ancient and forgotten. My job was to sweep and check the boiler. The air was cold, heavy, and smelled of damp earth and something metallic. Most nights I'd drown out the sounds with music, but tonight, my phone was dead. It was just me and the basement's noises, the drip of a pipe, the hum of the panel, the scrape of my broom. Then I heard it. A shuffling behind the boiler. Slow, Deliberate. I told myself it was a rat, but the sound was too heavy, too patient. I called out. Nothing. I tried to keep working, but the sound came again. Closer. I circled the boiler, broom in hand, heart pounding. The metallic smell was stronger. I peered into the gap behind the boiler. 2 points of light stared back. Eyes, but not an animal's. Too far apart, unblinking. I stumbled back, terror flooding me. The eyes just watched. I couldn't scream. I just backed away, never breaking eye contact. Then, I tripped. When I looked back, the eyes were gone. But the silence had changed. It was charged, waiting. The shuffling started again, now from behind the bookshelves, moving, stalking me. I scrambled to my feet and ran for the stairs, the sound chasing me, faster, closer. I burst through the door, slammed it shut, and locked it. In the bright hallway, I listened to the silence on the other side. I never went back down there. Some things in the dark corners of old buildings aren't meant to be seen. Sometimes, they're just waiting for someone to notice them. And once you do, they never really let you go. I still dream of those eyes, cold, intelligent, and patient. The basement is just a room by day, but at night, it's something else. If you ever hear something moving in the dark, don't look for it. Just leave. Because sometimes it's looking for you too, and sometimes it finds you. I never told anyone what I saw. Who would believe me? But I know what's down there, waiting in the dark. And I know it's still watching. Some places are better left forgotten. Some things are better left unseen. Trust the fear. It's there for a reason. The locker room was supposed to be empty, my last stop on the nightly route. By midnight, the sports complex was a ghost town. The echoes of the day faded, replaced by a deep, humming silence. The men's locker room had its own kind of creepiness, tiled walls, rows of lockers, and strange acoustics that made every sound echo. That night, everything felt normal. I started mopping the showers, lost in routine. Then, in the mirror above the sinks, I caught a flicker of movement behind me. I turned, nothing, just lockers and benches. I shook it off, kept working, but then I saw it again. In the reflection, at the far end of the room, stood a shadow, tall, impossibly tall, darker than any other shadow. It had no source. It was just there, still and watching. I froze, heart pounding. I looked over my shoulder, nothing. But in the mirror, the shadow remained, standing, watching. It existed only in the reflection, like it belonged to another world. The air grew heavy, charged with silent threat. Then the shadow moved, its head tilting, studying me. Panic broke my paralysis. I knocked over my mop bucket, soapy water spilling everywhere. I didn't look back at the mirror. I just ran for the door, slipping on the wet tiles. I slammed the door behind me, gasping for air, heart racing. I never heard a sound from inside. No footsteps, no rattling lockers. I left everything behind. My cart, my bucket, my job. I couldn't go back. I tried to explain, but no one believed me. A shadow in a mirror. It sounded insane. But I know what I saw. It wasn't a trick of the light. There was something in that locker room with me. Something that only existed in the reflection. Something ancient and dark, watching from the other side of the glass. I still see it in my nightmares, waiting in the mirror. If you ever see a shadow that shouldn't be there, don't look twice. Get out. Don't let it know you've seen it. Some things are meant to stay hidden. Some doors are better left closed. The locker room is just a room by day, but at night, it's something else. And sometimes, the shadows are watching you. Trust your fear. It's trying to save you. I never went back. I never will. Some reflections are best left unseen. The world is full of quiet, empty spaces, and the people who work in them see what the rest of us don't. They know that empty is rarely ever truly empty. The stories you heard tonight are a reminder. These experiences change you. You start to see the shadows in your own home differently. You listen more closely to the creaks at night. That primal part of your brain gets louder, reminding you that safety is never guaranteed. The hunt isn't just in the wild. Sometimes it's right behind you, in the places you least expect. So next time you're alone in a quiet place and feel that strange chill, pay attention. It might just be your instincts telling you you're not alone.